13. Panchemani Mahabaho Karanani Nibodhame Sankhye Kritante Proktani Siddhaye Sarva Karmanam Adhishthanam Tatha Karta Karanam Cha Prithagvidham Vividhascha Prithag Cheshta Daivam Chaivatra Panchamam Shariravaং Manobhiryat Karma Prarabhate Naraham Nyayam va viparitam va Panchaite tasya hetavah Tatraivam sati kartaram Atmanam kevalam tuyam Pashyatyakrita buddhitvat Nasa pashyati durmatihi Yasya naham krito bhavaha Buddhiryasya na lipyate Hatvapi sa iman lokan Nahanti na nibadhyate. So before we take up the 13th verse, I will just, conclude the 12th verse. Actions, when we perform actions, we have motives. It's very difficult to perform an unmotivated action. Motives are always there. If I perform an action with called in a good motive to help somebody, I perform an action. It's a motive. Or I perform an action to help myself and also harm somebody. Let me call them good and bad intentions. Either we perform actions with good intentions or we perform actions with less than good intentions. थोड़ा बहुत हो जाता है. Now what happens is these actions have a knack of creating results. And to enjoy those results I have to take another form. And after taking the form I again perform the actions. And the actions again create results. And to enjoy them I have to continue form. This is what is called chain reaction. Actions performed with good intentions or actions performed with less than good intentions. It doesn't matter at all. Actions performed with good intentions or performed with less than good intentions create chain reactions. I get chained, I get handcuffed, as it were, by the results of my own actions. It is like a cocoon weaves a web for itself, a shell for itself, and then it gets so caught in that shell it can't come out. And sometimes it dies right there. There are always people who, silk makers, collect all these silkworms and put them in boiling water, kill them, take the silk. So the one who made the silk doesn't enjoy the silk. Somebody else enjoys the silk. Therefore, actions, how to perform actions and yet not to be bound by them, is the topic of Bhagavad Gita. How to be active and yet not be bound by that activity. I mean, one of the topics, Brahma Vidya is the topic of Bhagavad Gita, but one of the topics of Bhagavad Gita is how to do your duties and yet not be bound by them. And Bhagavan says, the secret is this: perform actions only for your inner growth, which is neither good intention nor bad intention, it is the right intention. Perform the actions only for your inner growth and inner purity and ultimately inner enlightenment. Connect all your actions with Brahma Vidya. When you connect all your duties with the inner Brahma Vidya, then they don't create a chain reaction. बहुत बड़ी बात है जी. If you receive what I am saying, if you are listening what I am saying, you will be highly benefited by it. And if you think, हाँ ठीक है बहुत सुन लिया है, तब तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला है. जब तक until one finds the truth, Shravanam is not complete. The reflection is not over. It's like until you reach the destination, the walking is not over. The journey is not over until you reach the destination. Similarly, until one understands oneself, the Shastra, the study of the Shastra is not over. It's like saying in a Bhashikaranta, until you get the rice from the paddy, pounding is not over. Once you get the rice from the paddy, वो अपने आप छूट जाएंगे. If you listen to it, generally we perform actions and get bound by them. It's like you say, you serve your parents-in-law and then you want some admiration. And then you want some admiration, some appreciation, and if they don't give, you feel unhappy. This is how we get bound. You do seva, but you get affected by your seva. Oh, go about doing your duties, actions for your inner peace and inner growth. Then you don't look for any results. When you look for material results, you are bound. You are in for frustration. You are in for frustration if you look for material results. because the expected results won't come to you. Swamiji, is it true they won't come? You know better, जी. आपको मालूम नहीं क्या ये बात? सबको मालूम है जी, expected results don't come. Then you get frustrated. You get so frustrated, so frustrated, so frustrated. Secretly start crying. मैंने इतना किया, क्या नहीं किया आप लोगों के लिए, मुझे क्या मिला है? This is all frustration. I say people can't never look for anything in this world. Go about doing your duties for your inner growth, inner enlightenment, inner peace, inner understanding, inner strength. Keep on. With every action, become stronger and stronger. Find all the resources within yourself to look after yourself. Find enough fortitude within to look after yourself. Find enough patience to look after yourself. Find enough tolerance to look after yourself. Therefore, all these are a part of your growth. And for that growth, do your duties. And when you do your duties for your inner growth, then you are not bound by your actions. Is it clear? But supposing you say if you do your action duties for punya, you will be bound. Because punya will bring pleasures, and to enjoy the pleasures you will be reborn. And even if you get pleasures, you are again bound. Once you have the taste of the pleasure, you want it again. It's a bondage. You have the taste of a pleasure. Your punya brings you some pleasure. And you have the taste of it, and you want to have it again and again, you are bound. Therefore, don't look for anything that comes and goes. Look for understanding the ever-present. Look for understanding the ever-present, your own being. What comes and goes, even if you get it, you will get still frustrated, because having got it, it will still go. How many things come and go in life? How many things go? One person is 95, 96, 100 years old in Uttarakhand. Then he says, मेरा कोई बचा ही नहीं, सब लोग चले गए, मैं अकेला. Because they're all gone in 60s and 70s, he's still on. Even the most beautiful things come and go in life. Therefore, the wisdom tells, don't live for those things which come and go. Live for understanding the truth. The ever-present Sat. The ever-present Sat, which is our nature. Therefore, do everything outside to understand what is within. Therefore, Bhagavan says the only way by which you can live without getting bound, you can perform actions without getting bound by your actions, is do them for self-knowledge. I say perform all good deeds for self-growth. Let the intention be self-growth, self-purification, self-understanding, everything related to the truth within. Okay, ji. then it is called Karma Yoga. Karma performed for self-growth, self-purification and self-understanding is called Karma Yoga. Not merely doing good deeds, no. Do everything for inner mental growth. Why not? This is called Karma Yoga. This is over. Next verse. Now the topic is going to be a little more serious. Sometimes what happens is somebody does something and you get into trouble. समझ गया ना? तो ये कुछ करते हैं. Sometimes what happens, it is better to keep little distance from what is happening around. Too much of involvement also creates a problem. Keep a little distance. All that Bhagavan says is you don't have to keep a distance, there is a distance between yourself and the rest. There is a distance. And see that distance. What is the distance? That is said here. Body does something. Body is a form. It is mobile. It can be mobile. Body has the quality of being mobile. Senses have the quality of being mobile. The mind has the quality of being mobile. But conscious being that we are is not mobile, it is. It's like, the air in the world is mobile. The sun is mobile. Maybe around itself, but it is mobile. Air is mobile. Water is mobile. Fire is mobile. All of them have the nature. The earth is mobile. But space itself is not mobile. Space is. Our existence is like that space. If the space also, because the air is being mobile, fire is being mobile, and the water is being mobile, the earth is being mobile, and if the space also looking at all of them thinks I am also mobile, is it knowledge or confusion? If the space thinks I am also mobile, what is it, confusion or knowledge? It's confusion. If the space thinks I am mobile, it's a confusion. Similarly, when we think we are being what we call struggling, there is mobility in my being, there is action in my being, there is movement in my being, there is change in my being, there is struggle in my being, it is a confusion. Why? This mobility is there only in 5 things. And those 5 things are these. Panche mani mahabaho. Pancha, 5. Imani, the following. Mahabaho, hey Arjuna. The following 5 details, karanani, they facilitate motion. Only they are mobile. Karanani, causes. Nibodha, understand, me from me. Me from me. Krishna says, understand from me. There are 5 details which are mobile in the creation. There are 5 details which facilitate actions. There are 5 details which facilitate actions. Sankhye Kritante Proktani. And they are all, these 5 details have been mentioned in Sankhya, otherwise called Kritanta. Kritanta means Vedanta. Why Vedanta is called Kritanta? It is after the ritualistic portion. Karma ke baad aata hai, that's why it's called Krita Anta, after karma. Vedanta doesn't tell you what you should do. Vedanta tells you what you are. Recognize it. This is what you are, but you don't know. Recognize. Karma Kanda tells you this is a good deed, do it. Satya bolo, jhoot mat bolo, matru devo bhava, pitru devo bhava, माता पिता का सेवा करो, बच्चों का देखभाल करो. This is all advices. Karma Kanda gives you advices. Vedanta doesn't give you any advice. Sir, you are the truth. Look at yourself. Therefore, Vedanta's topic is ourselves as the eternal truth. Why? Because our conscious identity makes us eternal. Because conscious identity can never be non-eternal. Form cannot be eternal, our conscious identity cannot be non-eternal. Are you able to follow? Therefore, this Vedanta is also called Kritanta. It is a topic that comes after rituals. It comes after advices. It comes after good and bad deeds. It's much later. It is also called Sankhya. Why? Because it is something that conveys the truth. Samyak khyayate, akhyayate, anaya iti Sankhya. That is on one meaning. Sankhya means what conveys the truth is called Sankhya. Vedanta can also be called Sankhya. Later on, the other school of thought called Sankhya, they borrowed the word Sankhya and used it. Sometimes what happens, even though it is your word, but that word becomes very, very useful for somebody else, and he uses it. You lose the word. See, Sankhya Shabda first basically belongs to Vedanta. Like when we talk about Omkara, it is basically Vedanta. But some people may say, no, it is ours. Aisa kuch nahi hai, it is Vedanta. Swamiji, is it not true? Omkara is profusely described in Guru Granth Sahib. Guru Granth Sahib also is Vedanta. Guru Granth Sahib mein kya hai? Guru Granth Sahib mein is all about Sat, the truth. It is nothing but Vedanta in Gurumukhi. Bas. Guru Granth Sahib mein kya hai? It is all Vedanta, the truth, spoken in Gurumukhi. Therefore, Sankhya school, Sankhya means Vedanta fundamentally. Kritanta also means Vedanta. What is the difference between Vedanta and Karma Kanda? Karma Kanda tells you the rituals. Karma Kanda tells you the good and bad advices. ये खराब है, ये अच्छा है, ये अच्छा करो, ये गलत है, इसको मत करो. Talks, it's more, it is an advisory scripture. It is an advisory scripture, Karma Kanda. Whereas Vedanta is an unfolding scripture. There is a big difference between Vedanta and Karma. Our culture is basically rooted in Vedanta. Karmakanda is there as a gauna. Karmakanda is secondary. But what is primary is education about the truth. If the education about the truth goes away from this land, then there is nothing left. Karmakanda nobody is interested in. Rituals nobody is interested in. Rituals can't give you happiness. Rituals also create anxiety. Why? Because having performed the ritual, you will say, Bhagavan, pata nahi phal milega ki nahi milega. It's like having started the business, you have anxiety. Kya hoga is business ka? Kuch milega, nahi milega. Even if you are getting it, still you are anxious. Any enterprise causes anxiety. Bhagavan created 12 hours of night. Why कम से कम 2-4 घंटा तो नींद आएगा? नहीं तो नींद ही नहीं आता. Why? Anxiety. Not easy. Therefore, if Vedic culture means Karmakanda, nobody is interested in it. If Vedic culture means education about oneself as the truth, then it can sustain the whole nation. The whole nation can be sustained by the education about the truth. That is why Vedanta is also called Sankhya, is also called Kritanta. Proktani have been mentioned. What is it that has been mentioned? These 5 details. What are the 5 details which facilitate action? Have been mentioned in the Vedanta. Siddhaye, to facilitate. Sarva karmana, of all the actions. To facilitate the performance of all actions, there are only 5 factors. But the truth plays no role in performing an action. I want you to slowly enter this topic. The body is mobile, but our conscious being is not mobile. It is. Air moves, but the space is. Fire moves, but the space is. Water moves, but the space is. The earth moves, but the space is. So, see the distinction between what is and what moves. In our life also the body moves. The senses move. The mind moves. But the one who is aware of all movements is. He doesn't move. Did you hear this sentence? The body moves. I am going to repeat at least 10 times. The body moves. The senses move. The mind moves. The intellect moves. The sun moves. The world, the earth moves, etc. The time moves, but the one who is aware of all the movements of everyone doesn't move. He is. That is what we are. We are peacefully present being. We are not ever moving form. We are not ever changing form. We are not ever struggling detail. We are ever present being. We are ever present conscious being. Are you able to follow? This distinction is what we need to see in life. What is it that is mobile? And what is it that is kutastha? We are by nature kutastha, whereas the body is moving, senses move, mind moves, intellect moves, samsara moves. The day moves, the time moves. But movement of the body, movement of the senses, the mind, etc., that movement, there is someone looking at that movement. And that someone who is looking at the movement is what we are, is the truth. The observer, the conscious observer that we are, is the truth. The one who observes doesn't move. The one who observes only observes movement, but himself doesn't move. If observer also moves, then there should be another observer to observe the movement of the first observer. So gadbad ho jayenge na. Observer doesn't move. The example you can apply, the air etc. move, but the space doesn't. And one more small sentence, I make adjustments. All that moves within the realm of something that doesn't move. Something that. The air moves within the realm of the space that doesn't move. Fire, water, earth move within the realm of the space that doesn't move. Similarly, the body, senses, mind, intellect move in the realm of awareness, which itself doesn't. We are that awareful being. We are a conscious being. We are the subject. This much you think. See, our baki sab labels ji. We sometimes, we get so bogged down in our labels. I am a man is a label. I am a woman is a label. I am a husband is a label. I am a housewife is a label. I am a father is a label. I am of this caste and creed is a label. I am of this nationality is a label. Except the one thing that I am conscious, except this, everything else is a label in this world. Did you hear this? Except that I am aware. Everything else is a label. I am rich is a label. I am poor is a label. I am a businessman is a label. Where do we get bogged down? In the truth or in the labels? The labels. And the labels can come and go. Labels come and go. Our labels, the labels that with the stickers on our personality, these stickers on our individuality can't sustain us in life. What can sustain us is our conscious identity. The clarity about our conscious identity is most thrilling in life. The most beautiful is looking at your conscious identity, which is eternal. Because even the darkness you are aware of. Therefore, our conscious identity transcends even darkness. Our conscious identity transcends everything that we are aware of. And therefore, this is the purpose for which this topic has come here. The purpose is, look at, don't think I am an actor. So the moment we think I am mobile, then I feel the fatigue. Body is mobile, then I say I am tired. I am tired means I look at the conscious being as tired. I confuse my conscious identity with the inert form. I confuse my conscious identity with the mobile senses. I confuse my conscious identity with the mobile thoughts. I confuse my conscious identity with the replaceable mobiles, replaceable labels, mobile labels. Are you able to follow? Therefore, we are living a state of confusion between our conscious identity, the truth, and the rest of the details, which are appearances. It is like when the water says, I am a wave, I am a given form, I am mobile, I am so limited, I am afraid I may die. The water thinks of itself as a form. The substance confuses itself with the form. When the substance confuses itself with a form, then it gets scared of the insecurity of the form, and the form has to be insecure. So what is life? It's a kind of a confusion between the conscious being and the formation. Okay, now what are those 5 details which facilitate action, which are mobile? Adhishtanam. The next verse, Ji. Swamiji, we have been waiting for the next verse and you took so long. Itna आसान थोड़ी है जी. I go with my own pace, Ji. Adhishthana means this body. In order to perform an action, action by definition is mobility. To move from one point of space to another point of space. This mobility is called action. Chalanatmakam karma. Action is nothing but mobility. If I have to perform some action with my hand, I am moving my hand from one point to another point. इसको इधर रख दिया. And also mobility. Action by definition is mobility. इसको अच्छी तरह से पकड़ना. What is mobile in life? This body is mobile. This body can move from one point to another point of space. So, body facilitates action. Adhishthana. Similarly, tatha karta. Karta means the doer. The doer means the intending will, the volition, the will. So even though you can come to the class, you will not come to the class unless you will, make a will. Let me decide, let me go. That let me do is called the will. Let me do it. Let me do. आज चलो क्लास चलते, बहुत दिन हो गए. Then that is called the will to perform an action. Another word is called the volition, the will, the sankalpa. Sankalp karna. चलो मैं चलता हूँ. It's called संकल्प करना. So in the morning, रात को, कल शाम को आपने संकल्प किया, चलो कल सवेरे क्लास जाएंगे. And the next morning आपने संकल्प के विरुद्ध विकल्प कर दिया, चलो ना जाओ. This is called संकल्पा and vikalpa. Let me do it is called sankalpa. Let me not do it is called vikalpa. Even vikalpa is also a kind of a sankalpa. Kind of a volition, will. I always will to do or I will not to do. Let me not go. That's also kind of will. This is called kartritvam. This will to do is called kartritvam. The will to do facilitates doing. The body, the physical body being mobile, it facilitates action. The will to do facilitates action. Similarly, karanam. Karanam means the faculties. In order to perform an action, I must have the means of action like hands and feet, all these. There are 5 organs of action. 5 organs of action are called karma indriyas, karmendriyas. Then there are 5 organs of knowledge, perception. I must have eyes and ears and the sense of taste, touch, smell. They are called pancha jnanendriyas. Pancha jnanendriyas, pancha karmendriyas, then the mind and the intellect. 2. There also I use them for performing action. So one is the body that facilitates action. The second is the will. And the third is the 12 faculties. 12 faculties. 12 faculties means 5 means of action, 5 means of perception, and a mind and intellect. Mind is memory, choice, etc. Intellect is understanding what to do. How to perform an action, that is all intellect. The choice to do is the mind. Are you able to follow? Sometimes हमको डर लगता है कि इतनी बड़ी बात है, आप लोगों को समझ में आ रहा है? नहीं, ज़्यादा आना चाहिए. Not that I underestimate your intelligence or anything. मेरे को स्वयं को थोड़ा डर लगता है. See, the body facilitates action. The will to perform facilitates action. And the 12 faculties, 5 means of action, 5 means of perception, the mind, the choice, memory and the choice, and the intellect is how to perform. The know-how is all a part of intellect, the know-how. This is called karanam. Supposing, I don't have the will to perform, I can't perform. I have the body, I have the means of action, I have the sense organs, everything I have, but I have no will to perform, then I can't do anything. Similarly, I have the will to perform, but I don't have the hands, I don't have the feet, I don't have the eyes and ears, then I am handicapped. Out of these 5 details, even one is missing, you are handicapped. That's called being handicapped. The first is the adhishthanam, the body. Tatha, similarly, karta, the will. Similarly, the third is the means of action. Prithak vidam, different faculties. Then vividhascha prithak cheshta, the inner vital force. Physical vitality, prana shakti. You have the body, you have the will to do, you have the means also, but you are weak. There is no prana shakti. The very first step makes you calm. The moment. Inner weakness. That means there is no inner vitality. There is no inner prana shakti. कुछ कर नहीं पाएंगे. कुछ नहीं काम कर पाए. That is why the fourth detail which facilitates action is Prana Shakti. And the Prana Shakti is fivefold. And one is Prana, the second is Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. In English you can take it like this, G. All the physiological functions. You must know the different anatomical structure is different from physiological functions. Just the look of the body is anatomical structure. That's why even a dead body, you hand it over to the medical hospital and for them to use it. And what are you handing over? Only the anatomical structure. Whereas the physiological functions are all over. Meaning breathing in, breathing out, eating, drinking, digesting, assimilating, all this living process is called Prana Shakti. All physiological functions. In English they are called five humors. Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. These five are called five kinds of air, five kinds of air, five kinds of functions, five kinds of functions. And an Ayurvedic man always says, Prana, आपका प्राण शक्ति ठीक नहीं, आपका अपान वायु ठीक नहीं, व्याना ठीक नहीं, उदाना ठीक नहीं. Supposing you are about to leave the body, an Ayurvedic doctor says, your udana is getting active. That means what? Udana Shakti. Udana helps you to get out of the form, to leave the form. Anyway, what I am telling is, a person cannot perform any action unless he has physical vitality. This physical vitality is what is called Prana Shakti. So now how many details have we counted, Ji? Body. Minus the body, we can't do anything. Minus hands and feet, we can't do anything. Minus the will, we can't do anything. And minus the means of action, we can't do anything. And minus the vitality, we can't do anything. A person who loses all his immunity is weak. This is what happens in acquired immunity deficiency syndrome. You understand, This acquired immunity deficiency syndrome man loses all immunity. And he is like this. Can't do anything. That's why Prana Shakti is also necessary for action. Prithak Cheshta. Prithak Cheshta means different functions of vitality. Different functions of. Prithak means different, Cheshta means functions. Prana means different functions of physiology. Eating is one function, digesting is one function, assimilating is another function, blood circulation is another function. These various physiological functions are called Prithak Cheshta. Itna काफी है ये आप लोगों के लिए. Now the fifth factor is Daivam Chaivatra Panchamam. Daivam, this word. If I have to perform an action, there should be a sun. There should be air. There should be the creation. The creation must cooperate with me. The laws must cooperate with me. I would like to translate it as the law of karma should cooperate. Daiva means God's law of karma. God's law of karma is called Daiva. The law of karma, supposing in it's like this thing. I hope I will be able to explain it. When you sow paddy, you know very well that there will be paddy crop. Supposing you are not certain, then you won't sow paddy crop. Only when you are sure the law of karma is such, the law of causation is such, as is the cause, so is the effect. This law of causation is called Daiva. This law of causation is Daiva. Supposing you are moving towards Rishikesh, but there is no guarantee. Supposing you decide to move towards Rishikesh, but then you start moving towards Bombay, then you can't do anything. Are you able to follow? You can't do anything. Cause is something, effect is something. You use your cow's milk for making cow's curd, then it doesn't become cow's curd, it becomes a camel milk curd. Then you can't do anything. Then you lose trust in your actions. We have trust in our actions, therefore we perform actions because our actions are governed by the law of causation. This law of causation is what is called, this law of causation is what is called Daiva. This law is called Daiva. Daiva means law of causation. Why is it called Daiva? Because it's not my creation. It is God's. As is the cause, so is the effect, the law of causation. As is the action, so is the result. Call it law of karma, call it law of causation, it is the same thing. You can't perform a good action and become unhappy. No. Like, supposing you feed a hungry man, and having fed a hungry man, can you become unhappy? Even if you want to be unhappy? No. Whether you like it or not, the result comes so choiceless. And having done a good deed, you can't be unhappy. And having done a bad deed, you can't be happy. When you hurt your mother, let us say, in hurry you say something and she feels hurt. Can you be happy? Oh, हमारा मम्मी को नानी को दिखा दिया. Can you think like that? No. When you hurt somebody, you feel hurt. A person who feels hurt when he hurts somebody is called a normal person. A person who hurts somebody but doesn't feel hurt is called an abnormal person. He needs treatment, yes. He doesn't feel guilty. That means he is so cruel. That's why a lot of them, we can't do anything about them because they are abnormal. A person kills somebody, he doesn't feel guilty. He hurts, but he doesn't feel hurt. He kills, but doesn't feel any bad. Is he normal or abnormal, ji? Bataiye. Abnormal. If the husband really bashes up the wife and then starts seeing a movie, is he normal or abnormal? Abnormal. Abnormal. Now what can you do about an abnormal person? A husband bashes up a wife and then switch on the TV and starts seeing a Sholay movie. What is that husband called? Abnormal. He is abnormal. Why? A normal person always feels hurt whenever he hurts others. It's called simple normality. And such a normal person. Anyway, coming back to the point, as is the cause, so is the effect. But these people who hurt others and don't feel hurt now, but the cause, their actions will bring them hurts in future. Will bring them later. Because the law of causation, the law of karma. Swamiji, do you believe in the law of karma? Hey Bhagavan, but law of karma is obvious. When I clap, is there a sound or not? Sound. This is law of karma, law of causation. Without the cause, there is no effect. Without the action, there is no result. Without the reason, there is no result. Thus, these are the 5 details which perform action. What are they? The body helps me perform action. Number 2, my will. Number 3, the faculties of action, the means of action. The 4th, the vitality, strength. The 5th, the law of causation. Why the law of causation is the Daivam? It is not my law. It is not my law. I say I can't handle even in-laws. How can I handle Bhagavan's law, ji? I can't. In-laws are simple phenomena. I don't know how to handle them. But this law of karma, I can only abide by them. Bhagavan's law of karma, I can abide. In-laws also you can abide by them. You are right. But now what do you want to convey? It's very beautiful, ji, this verse. Even though body is functioning, means of action are functioning, the will is functioning, the mind is functioning, the intellect is functioning, all faculties in one's personality are functioning. That is called life. But the one who is aware is silent. That is our identity. The conscious being is merely silent. We have, by nature, we are a silent being. Whereas our upadhis are functioning. My body functions, my senses function, my mind functions, my intellect functions, my vitality functions, all of them. But I am only aware. We are a silent presence behind all the functions. Bhagavan Krishna says, discern between your silent presence and the active functionings of all these details. Don't confuse your silent identity with the mobile form, the mobile senses, the mobile mind, the mobile intellect, the mobile daivam, the mobile this, the mobile that. See the distance between the observer and the observed. Okay? All this will come. Don't lose patience while hearing. थोड़ा बहुत होता है, थोड़ा बहुत ध्यान देना पड़ता है, क्योंकि जिंदगी में everything is not खाना पीना. There is something to understand also. And if there is something to understand that is there in your Vedanta, in Bhagavad Gita, khana pina has its own place. But we can't be thinking all the 24 hours about khana pina. We can't be thinking about all the time malls. Chalo, wahan par restaurant hai, udhar khayenge, udhar piyenge, fir ghar aa jayenge. This is our spent time. Yes, this is the right thing. Listening to your scripture is the right thing, the right way of using your brilliant intelligence. The educated mind must be used to look into the script. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Om Tat Sat. Hari Om.